Phylum Arthropoda. The word arthropoda is derived from Greek language. It is a Greek word. Arthros means jointed and poda is derived from podus, which means leg. It means that the legs of arthropods have many joints which allow easy movement of the body. First of all, I will explain the diagnostic characteristics of phylum Arthropoda and then its complete classification. So, the number of species. Phylum Arthropoda is the largest phylum of the animal kingdom, comprising about 80 to 85% of the total animals in the world. Till now, about 9 lakh species of arthropods have been discovered, and the well-known examples of arthropods include spiders, scorpions, prawns, crabs, lobsters, all the insects found on the earth. Insects include ants, honeybees, butterflies, dragonflies, moths, wasps, etc., centipedes and the millipedes. Second point is about the habitat of arthropods. Arthropods are found in all the three habitats. They are found everywhere. We can say they are cosmopolitan in distribution. Arthropods are found in the marine life. For example, crustaceans, spiders, sea spiders, they are found in the water, in the sea water. They are also terrestrial like scorpions, insects on the land, and besides this, arthropods also have aerial mode of life. For example, majority of the insects, they fly in the air. Besides this, arthropods are also the ectoparasites. Ectoparasites living on the body of the host. For example, ticks, mites, bed bugs, head louse and body louse, etc. Besides this, arthropods are also the vectors of various diseases, for example, housefly and mosquitoes. Third point is triploblastic. Triploblastic means made up of 3 layers. Arthropod's body is triploblastic, that is, it is made up of 3 layers. Outer layer is ectoderm, middle layer is mesoderm, and the inner layer is known as endoderm. Next point is about the symmetry. Symmetry of arthropods is bilaterally symmetrical. They are bilaterally symmetrical animals. Symmetry means that the body of arthropods can be cut into 2 equal halves by using only one plane. Next point is about the segmentation. The body of arthropods is metamerically segmented. Metamerically segmented means that the body is divisible into 3 parts, or we can say the body has 3 tegmatization, that is head, thorax and abdomen. The body of insects. Insects body is well developed and it is divisible into 3 parts, head, thorax and abdomen. While in case of crustaceans and arachnids, what are crustaceans? Crustaceans include prawns, crabs, which are found in the sea water, and arachnids. Arachnids include spiders, scorpions. So in case of crustaceans and arachnids, the head and thorax, they are fused together and it is known as cephalothorax. So crustaceans and arachnids body have 2 main parts, cephalothorax and abdomen. Further, each body segment has paired jointed appendages or legs with great functional diversity. Appendages include antennae, mouth parts, wings or legs, and these appendages are modified structurally to perform various functions like feeding, walking, running, swimming, flying, capturing prey, or they are sensory in function. Next point is exoskeleton of arthropods. And the body of arthropods is covered with a thick exoskeleton which is made up of chitin. Or we can say they have a chitinous exoskeleton. The function of this exoskeleton is it prevents the loss of water from the body, it prevents the dehydration of the animal body, and secondly this exoskeleton it resists in growth, it does not allow the expansion of the body. So that's why this exoskeleton is removed periodically. Periodically means with the passage of time, when the arthropods they grow in size, so the exoskeleton is removed and the growth occurs and the body is covered with exoskeleton. So this periodically removal of exoskeleton from the body is known as ecdysis or molting. Seventh number point is musculature, the muscular system of arthropods. The musculature of arthropods is not continuous. Muscles are not continuous. Mostly they consist of separate stripped muscles. Stripped muscles also known as striated muscles. And these muscles are capable of rapid contraction. And next is about the coelom of the arthropods. Coelom means the true body cavity, and coelom is formed from the mesoderm, which is the middle layer of the body. So coelom, the true coelom in arthropods is reduced to species, and it contains mostly excretory organs and reproductive organs. So true coelom is reduced and it is known as hemocoel. The hemocoel is filled with a circulatory fluid which is known as hemolymph or simply lymph. So arthropods are basically the hemocoelomates. And next point is about the digestive system of arthropods. So all arthropods have a complete and well developed digestive system or a well developed alimentary canal, and which has two openings, mouth at the interior end of the body and anus is also present at the posterior end of the body. Besides this, a variety of mouth parts are present in arthropods which are adapted for different types of feeding habits. Tenth number point is about the respiratory system. Organs of respiration. There is also a variety in the organs of respiration. So respiratory organs include gills or general body surface in case of aquatic forms. Aquatic forms, those living in the water, and for example crustaceans. Crustaceans mostly they respire through general body surface or gills. Secondly, on the land, the insects, centipedes and the millipedes, they respire through tracheae. Tracheae are also known as air tubes. And the third one is book lungs. Book lungs are present in the terrestrial forms like arachnids, and arachnids include spiders, scorpions, ticks and mites. So these are the organs of respiration in arthropods. And next is about the excretory system. Organs of excretion include, or excretion takes place through, first of all, Malpighian tubules. Malpighian tubules are the excretory organs found in the insects. Secondly, in case of crustaceans, the aquatic forms, green glands are present, a pair of green glands are present at the base of antenna. So that's why they are also known as antennal glands. And sometimes the green glands are also known as maxillary glands. Next is coxal glands. A pair of coxal glands are present in spiders and scorpions. Coxal glands are present at the base of coxa. Coxa is the part of leg. So these are the organs of excretion in arthropods, including Malpighian tubules, green glands and coxal glands. And secondly, aquatic arthropods. Aquatic arthropods means living in the water. So they excrete ammonia. They are known as ammonotelic. Aquatic arthropods are ammonotelic, they are excreting ammonia, while terrestrial arthropods living on the land are excreting uric acid. So they are known as uricotelic. So aquatic arthropods are ammonotelic and terrestrial or land arthropods are uricotelic. Next is circulatory system. In all arthropods, circulatory system is of open type. Open type circulatory system means that the circulatory fluid, the blood or the lymph comes in direct contact with the body organs. In arthropods, heart lies on the dorsal side of the body. So circulatory system consists of a dorsal heart, arteries and blood sinuses. The circulatory fluid is known as lymph or hemolymph, which is a colorless fluid. It's colorless because it has no RBCs. The red blood cells are absent in the lymph. And in open circulatory system, there are no blood capillaries. Lymph directly baths the body organs and there are no blood capillaries. Next is nervous system. In arthropods, the nervous system is of annelid type. Nervous system is just like that of the annelids. It includes a dorsal nerve ring, which is also known as a brain, and it is lying in the interior region of the body, or we can say the dorsal nerve ring is in the head region. Besides this, a ventral nerve cord, which is a double ventral nerve cord arises from this brain and also includes ganglia and paired nerves. Next is about the sensory organs. The sensory organs in arthropods include simple eyes. Simple eyes are also known as ocelli and have paired compound eyes. Besides this, some arthropods have one pair of antennae, some have two pairs of antennae, and chemoreceptors, tactile receptors, and statocysts, etc. The sensory organs in arthropods are well developed. Next is about the reproduction in arthropods. In all arthropods, paired reproductive organs are present, or we can say gonads are present, which are paired with ducts. Ducts are also present, and arthropods are unisexual. Unisexual means the sexes are separate, male is separate and female is separate. Fertilization is mostly internal. Sometimes external fertilization also occurs. Arthropods are mostly oviparous. Some are viviparous. For example, scorpions. The scorpions are viviparous. Development either direct or indirect. If development is direct, then there are no larval stages. But if the development is indirect, then larval stages are involved. Besides this, arthropods and especially the insects, they show metamorphosis, and parthenogenesis also occurs in some arthropods. And next is a classification of phylum Arthropoda. Phylum Arthropoda is the largest phylum of animal kingdom. This phylum includes 4 subphyla. For study, it is further divided into 4 subphyla. The first subphylum is Trilobitomorpha. The first one is Trilobitomorpha. Second subphylum is Onychophora. Third subphylum is Chelicerata, and the fourth subphylum is Mandibulata. So these are the subphyla of phylum Arthropoda. Subphylum first is Trilobitomorpha. The word Trilobitomorpha is derived from the Greek language. Tri means three, lobus means lobes, and morpha means form, shape. It means the trilobed shape of the body. The name refers to the trilobed shape of the body formed by a pair of longitudinal grooves. Or we can say their bodies had three longitudinal lobes. This subphylum includes only one class, which is known as Trilobita. Trilobitomorpha has only one class, which is known as class Trilobita. Trilobita are the most primitive of all arthropods. Most primitive trilobites were most primitive, and they are extinct arthropods and fossils. Extinct means they are not available now, they are not existing. No single living species of trilobites exists today, and they were marine in habitat, and they were free living arthropods which lived on the bottom of sea, and they were abundant during Cambrian and Ordovician period. They are the fossil arthropods. They are not present today, and they are known as trilobites. Next subphylum is known as Onychophora. The word Onychophora is derived from Greek word. Onyx means claw and phora means bearing or having. It means having claw-like appendages. Claw-like appendages are unjointed. It means the appendages of the body are unjointed. Subphylum Onychophora is of great importance because it is a connecting link. It is a connecting link between arthropods and annelids. This subphylum Onychophora includes only one class, and which is also known as Onychophora, or sometimes called as Onchophora. So class Onychophora includes primitive arthropods. They are again primitive arthropods, and their body is worm-like. Worm-like body, that's why they are commonly known as velvet worms or walking worms. For example, peripatus. So peripatus is considered as a connecting link between arthropods and annelids. So this peripatus is very interesting as it shares so many diagnostic features with both arthropods and annelids. And about 70 species of peripatus exist today. Third subphylum is Chelicerata. The word Chelicerata is derived from Greek language. Chili means claw-like and eta means bearing or having. So the name indicates that they have chelicerae as their mouth parts. The name Chelicerata is derived from the chelicerae, which are the mouth parts and which makes the first pair of appendage of the body. Next is about 1 lakh species of Chelicerata have been discovered. And Chelicerata, these arthropods, they are found in different habitats. They may be terrestrial, living on the land, or they may be aquatic, found in the seawater or in the fresh water. But no Chelicerata can fly in the air. It means they don't have aerial mode of life. The body of Chelicerata is divisible into two parts. The first part is cephalothorax. Cephalo means head, so the head and the thorax, they are fused together. And the next part is abdomen. So body has two parts, cephalothorax and abdomen. There are 6 pairs of appendages derived from the cephalothorax. A cephalothorax has 6 pairs of appendages. The first pair of appendage is known as chelicerae, which is basically the mouth parts, and chelicerae means to hold the food. As I have shown you through the arrow, 6 pairs includes the first pair of chelicerae, which is the mouth part, which means to hold the food. As next is, the second is a pair of pedipalps or pedipalpi. Chelicerae and pedipalpi, they are basically the mouth parts of Chelicerata. Next is 4 pairs of legs. The walking legs are 4 pairs or 8 legs. So the arthropods included in the subphylum Chelicerata, their mouth parts, as the name indicates, are chelicerae. Their body has two parts, cephalothorax and abdomen, and cephalothorax has 6 pairs of appendages, 1 pair of chelicerae, 1 pair of pedipalps and 4 pairs of legs. The abdomen has no appendages, or I can say there are no abdominal appendages. If I compare this subphylum Chelicerata with Mandibulata, so Chelicerata don't have true mandibles. True mandibles are jaws, they are absent in Chelicerata. Chelicerata don't have mandibles and Chelicerata don't have antenna. Mandibles and antenna, they are absent in Chelicerata. Subphylum Chelicerata is divisible into 3 classes. Chelicerata has further 3 classes. The first class is known as Merostomata. A second class is Pycnogonida, and the third is Arachnida. So these are the 3 classes of subphylum Chelicerata. Now I will discuss the diagnostic features and examples of each class in detail. Subphylum Chelicerata has 3 classes. So now I am explaining the first class, which is known as Merostomata. The word Merostomata is derived from a Greek language. Meros means thigh and stoma means mouth. The class Merostomata, it includes 2 types of arthropods. The first one is known as Eurypterus, and the second group is known as horseshoe crabs. So these 2 type of arthropods, Eurypterus and horseshoe crabs, these are the examples of class Merostomata. Eurypterus are commonly known as sea scorpions. They are known as sea scorpions and they are extinct now. Extinct means they are not available, they are not living today, they are finished from the earth, they don't exist. And next group, horseshoe crabs, are also known as the king crabs. Horseshoe crabs, also known as the king crabs, as they are not the true crabs. Later on, I will tell you the true crabs, they belong to the class Crustacea, but the king crabs or horseshoe crabs, they belong to the class Merostomata. They are also known as the living fossil. Living fossil, why they are called living fossil? This is because they remain unchanged since Jurassic period. They remain unchanged means that king crabs do not undergone morphological changes like other fossil forms of that time. That is why they are known as the living fossils. The horseshoe crabs, what is their habitat? The habitat of horseshoe crabs is marine, aquatic. Marine means they are living in the sea, in the oceans, in the salty water. And the body parts. Their body parts is divisible into 2 main parts. The first is cephalothorax and the second is abdomen. Now I have written the main features of about king crab. As the first one is living fossil, I explained it. Second is their habitat, which is marine, and their body parts divisible into cephalothorax and abdomen. Next point is about the body appendages. The body contains 6 pairs of appendages, and these appendages include, the first pair is known as chelicerae. Chelicerae is the first pair of appendage, and chelicerae, they are used for the feeding purpose. Next is 4 pairs of walking legs. As all Chelicerata, they have 4 pairs of legs, or we can say 8 legs. The legs are 8 in number. So horseshoe crab also has 4 pairs of walking legs. And the last pair is used for pushing the animal in the forward position. So these are the some diagnostic features about horseshoe crab. Next is a question arises in the mind, why the king crab? King crab is also known as horseshoe crab. Why it is called as the horseshoe crab? The reason is that this is because they have an exoskeleton on the dorsal side of body. The body of king crab has a skeleton on the dorsal side, which is known as carapace. The carapace, which is the exoskeleton, it resembles the shoe of horse. It resembles a horseshoe. That is why the king crab is known as the horseshoe crab. I repeat, the king crabs, they have an exoskeleton on the dorsal side of body, which is known as carapace. This carapace, it resembles a horseshoe. That is why king crabs are also known as the horseshoe crabs. There are 3 genera of king crab. Only 3 genera exist in the world. The first genus is Limulus. The first one is Limulus. The second one is known as Carcinoscorpius. And the third one is Tachyplus. These are the 3 genera of king crab. Only 3 genera exist in the world. And the last point is about respiration. So Merostomata, which includes the living one, is king crabs. They are aquatic. They are found in the seawater and they respire through book gills. They use book gills for the purpose of respiration. The second class of subphylum Chelicerata is known as Pycnogonida. So there are about 1300 species of Pycnogonida. Pycnogonids, they are also commonly known as sea spiders. Pycnogonids are commonly known as sea spiders. They are also known as Pentopoda, as I have shown on the board, the Pentopoda. Pentopoda means all legs. As the leg size reaches up to 70 centimeter in some sea spider. Why they are called Pentopoda? Because the size of legs are very large. They are very large in size and the size of leg reaches up to 70 centimeter in some sea spiders. That is why they are known as the Pentopoda. They are also called sea spiders, but they are not really spiders. The real spiders, the true spiders, belong to the class Arachnida. I will explain Arachnida as I have explained. I will explain Arachnida in the coming few minutes. So the real spiders belong to class Arachnida, but the sea spiders, they belong to the class Pycnogonida. And next is the sea spiders. They have 4 pairs of long legs and a reduced body with small abdomen. Abdomen is small in size, the further body is reduced, but the legs are long in size. And they have marine habitat. They are found on the sea floor and most functions of the body, they are performed by the legs. So these are a few diagnostic features about class Pycnogonida, which are also known as sea spiders or Pentopoda. The third class is known as Arachnida. Subphylum Chelicerata has three main classes. The first class is Merostomata, the second is Pycnogonida, and the third is Arachnida. The word Arachnida is derived from Greek language, which is arachne. Arachne means spider. So the class Arachnida includes spiders, the true spiders, scorpions, ticks and mites. Spiders and scorpions, they are the large-sized arachnida. They are the large-sized arachnids, while ticks and mites, they are small-sized arachnids. Next is the habitat. So arachnids, they are either terrestrial, living on the land, or they may be aquatic, found in the water, in the fresh water or in the marine water. There are about 90,000 species, up to 90,000 species of arachnids exist in the world. And next is their body parts. So the body is divisible into two parts, cephalothorax. The head and thorax are fused, forming cephalothorax, and the second part is abdomen. The cephalothorax contain 6 pairs of appendages, while abdomen has no appendages. Abdomen is without appendages. Cephalothorax has 6 pairs of appendages, which include 1 pair of chelicerae. The second is 1 pair of pedipalps or pedipalpi. So the pedipalpi and chelicerae, they are mostly they are used for feeding purpose. They are the mouth parts. They are also known as the mouth parts of arachnida. And the last is 4 pairs of walking legs, are the 4 pair of legs. We can say they have 8 legs. So cephalothorax has 6 pairs of appendages, and in which include 1 pair of chelicerae, 1 pair of pedipalps and 4 pair of legs. And next is habit of the arachnids. So some arachnids, they are mostly predaceous. They are predatory in habit. For example, spiders and scorpions, as they are predaceous on other small insects, on other arthropods. And some arachnids are also ectoparasites. Like ticks and mites, they are mostly ectoparasites. Arachnids, they don't have wings, they have no antenna, and they have no mandibles, or they have no jaws. Wings, antenna and mandibles, they are absent in the arachnids. The mode of respiration. Arachnids respire through book lungs. When the arachnids, they live on the land, like if the spiders and scorpions are they are living on the land, so they respire through book lungs. And those arachnids which are found in the water, which are aquatic, they respire through gills. The excretory organs are coxal glands in all arachnids. Whether they are terrestrial or aquatic, they excrete through coxal glands. This is a diagram or a sketch of spider. So in this diagram, body is divisible into two parts. The first one is cephalothorax and the second is abdomen. Abdomen, as you see in the diagram, there are no appendages arising from the abdomen. While cephalothorax has 6 pairs of appendages, the first pair is chelicerae, the second pair is pedipalp, and third, fourth, fifth and sixth. These pairs, these are the legs. So there are 4 pairs of legs or 8 legs in all arachnids. Scorpions. Scorpions have many genera. Some of them include Pelemnus, next is Scorpio, and the third one is Euryscorpius. Pelemnus, Scorpio, and Euryscorpius. If some of one you have the star who is Scorpio, so if you look at the star, there is the diagram, there is the shape of scorpion. So Scorpio is also the genus of scorpion, and next is Euscorpius. The scorpions, they are mostly poisonous. They are poisonous. They have poison gland in the tail. And the abdominal, the last segment of abdomen has a tail, is modified into tail, and the tail contain venom gland or poison gland. Next is scorpions. They are viviparous. Viviparous means that they give birth to the young ones. Scorpions, they don't lay eggs. They are not oviparous. Instead, they are viviparous, which means they give birth to the young ones. An interesting thing about scorpions. The very interesting fact about scorpions is their mating dance. Mating dance or nuptial dance, which is known as promenade adducts. Promenade adducts, it is the mating dance in the scorpions. In this dance, the male and the female scorpions stand face to face with raised tails. The male grabs the pedipalps of the female, and the two scorpions, they go on moving hand in hand for an hour or more. So this mating dance is known as promenades adducts. The correct spelling of ducks is D-E-U-X. So promenade adducts, it is the mating dance or the nuptial dance, which is a unique feature of scorpions. As I explained in the start of video, that phylum Arthropoda has 4 subphyla. The first one is subphylum Trilobitomorpha. The second subphylum is Onychophora, and the third subphylum is Chelicerata, as I have written them on the right side of the board. The fourth and the last subphylum is known as Mandibulata. The word mandibulata is derived from the Latin language. Mandibulata is a Latin word. Mandible means mandibles are jaws, the true jaws, and eta means bearing or having. It means invertebrates, the arthropods having true jaws, having true mandibles. In case of mandibulata, the body is divisible either into 3 parts. And when there are 3 parts of body, so these include head, thorax and abdomen. In some cases, the body is divisible into 2 parts, cephalothorax and abdomen. The 3 parts of body are present in insects. Insects have 3 body parts, head, thorax and abdomen, while crustaceans are the aquatic arthropods. So crustaceans have cephalothorax and abdomen. And next important feature of mandibulata is they have antenna. Antenna, which is a sensory organ. So antennae are present in mandibulata. They have either 1 pair of antenna or some have 2 pairs of antenna. Besides this, the mouth parts, maxillae, are also present. Some mandibulata have 1 pair of maxilla, and some have 2 pairs of maxilla. Maxilla are the mouth parts. Simple eyes or compound eyes, they are present in mandibulata. Simple eyes are also known as ocelli. So some mandibulata have both simple eyes and compound eyes, while some have only compound eyes. So these are some of the diagnostic features of subphylum Mandibulata. Subphylum Mandibulata has 4 major classes. These classes include, the first one is class Crustacea, second is class Chilopoda, the third is class Diplopoda, and the fourth is class Insecta. Crustacea, Chilopoda, Diplopoda and Insecta, these are the major classes of subphylum Mandibulata. Now I will explain the diagnostic features of these classes. Now I am discussing about the classes of subphylum Mandibulata. Subphylum Mandibulata is the fourth subphylum of phylum Arthropoda. The first class is class Crustacea. The word Crustacea is derived from the Latin language. It's a Latin word. Crusta means shell and cea means group. It means animals having shell or the shell bearing animals. The crustaceans are the shell bearing animals. The shell glands are present. Their body is covered with a shell, or we can say, as all arthropods have an exoskeleton, so crustaceans also have exoskeleton, which is also called as shell, and it is also known as carapace. Up to now, until about 70,000 species of crustaceans are identified. So what's their habitat? Crustaceans are mostly marine, living in the seawater, in the ocean, and some are freshwater. A few are crustaceans like crabs. They are living in the freshwater, and only terrestrial crustacean is woodlouse. If we see at the habitat of crustaceans, they are mostly marine. So crustaceans are the dominant arthropods of the sea. In the sea, if we search for the arthropods, so the dominant arthropods which are collected from the sea, they are crustaceans. Some crustaceans are living in the fresh water, and only crustacean which is found on the land is woodlouse. And next point is about the body division. So crustaceans have two body parts, cephalothorax and abdomen. The head and thorax are fused, forming cephalothorax, and the second part is abdomen. And next is crustaceans also have a pair of compound eyes. So paired compound eyes, they are present, and compound eyes also have stalk. So we can say they have stalked paired compound eyes. Crustaceans have antenna are also present. So they have two pairs of antenna. And if we look at the walking legs, the number of legs, so some crustaceans have 5 pairs of walking legs, and in some cases the number of walking legs may exceed than 5 pairs. Next is about the respiration of crustaceans. So crustaceans, as they are living in the water, so they respire either through gills, or in some cases they respire through general body surface. Next is about excretion. So the excretory organs in crustaceans are green glands, and they are ammonotelic. Ammonotelic means that they are excreting ammonia. The main nitrogenous waste product is ammonia, as they are living in the water. And next is examples of crustaceans. Crustaceans as the dominant arthropods of the sea, and 70,000 up to 70,000 or more than 70,000 species are identified. So it's a large group. Examples include prawn, which genus is Paleomon, lobster. Next is apus. Apus is commonly known as the tadpole fish. Daphnia, which is commonly called as water flea, cyclops, shrimps, sandhoppers, copypods, Barnacles, they don't move. Barnacles like Lepus, which is commonly known as ship barnacles, Balanus, which is commonly called as rock barnacle, Aniscus, the wood louse, commonly known as wood louse, the only crustacean which is found on the land. Next is about the crabs. So crabs are found in the seawater and also in the fresh water. Hermit crabs, true crabs. The true crabs, their genus is Cancer. Next example is krill, crayfish and fish lice. Fish lice, they are also parasitic, etc. So these are the examples of some of the crustaceans which are found in the seawater, in the fresh water and on the land. The second class of subphylum Mandibulata is known as Chilopoda. The second class is Chilopoda. The commonly Chilopoda are known as centipedes. As the name indicates, centi means 100 and peds means legs. So centipede means 100 legs. It means that the number of legs ranges up to 100 or even more than 100. So the number of legs in centipede ranges from 15 pairs to 150 or 170 pairs depending upon the species. But no centipede has exactly 100 legs. As the name indicates, centipede means 100 legs, but actually no centipede has exactly 100 legs. So next is about the habitat of centipedes. Centipedes are terrestrial and mostly they are found in the damp places. Damp places means a place where humidity is present or where some water is present. So they are found in the damp places. They are mostly carnivorous and often they have poisonous bite. Some centipedes, they are poisonous. As they bite, they have poison glands. The body of centipedes is elongated and cylindrical. It's divisible into two parts, head and trunk. A centipede's body is divided into two parts, head and trunk, and there is no abdomen. Next is about the head of centipedes. The head is distinct and it consists of one pair of long antennae. The head of centipedes contain one pair of long antennae, one pair of mandibles, which are also known as true jaws, two pairs of maxillae. The mandibles and maxillae are the mouth parts of centipedes. Besides this, two pairs of ocelli. Ocelli are the simple eyes used for the purpose of vision. So two pairs of ocelli are present in centipedes. In some cases, the ocelli are absent. In some species of centipedes, the ocelli are absent. After head, the trunk. As I told you, the centipede's body is divisible into two parts, head and trunk. There is no thorax. Elongated part, the cylindrical body is cylindrical and many segmented. The number of segments ranges from 15 to 173. The number of body segments may be as less as 15 segments or it reaches up to 173 segments or even more than 173 segments depending upon the species of centipedes. Besides this, each segment of body has a pair of legs. There is one pair of legs per body segment and the first pair of leg is modified into poisonous fangs. The first pair of leg is modified into venomous fangs. As I told you earlier, the centipedes are poisonous. Some have poisonous bite. So they bite through first pair of legs, which is modified into venomous fangs, also known as maxillipedes with sharp claws. These maxillipedes with sharp claws, they are used for capturing small insects, worms and other small animals that are killed for the purpose of food. The well-known genre of centipede is known as Scolopendra. There are many species of centipedes, but the well-known genus of centipede is Scolopendra. Third class of subphylum Mandibulata is known as Diplopoda. Diplopoda, as the name indicates, diplo means double, two. Poda means legs. Two legs means that there are two pairs of legs per body segment. In case of Diplopoda, the number of legs is two pairs per body segment. That is, each body segment consists of two pairs of legs. Diplopoda are commonly known as millipedes. Millipedes, as the name indicates, milli means 1000 and pedes means legs. So the word millipede means 1000 legs. So millipedes mean 1000 legs, but actually no millipede has been discovered with 1000 legs. The pair of legs vary from 15 to 177 plus or minus 1. It means that the number of legs ranges from 15 to 177 pairs. And in some cases, some millipedes have up to 200 pairs of legs or even more. In the last class, the class Chilopoda, I discussed about centipedes. And now this is the class Diplopoda, in which I am discussing about millipedes. So the main difference between centipedes and millipedes is that centipedes have one pair of legs on each body segment. The centipedes have one pair of legs on each body segment, while millipedes have two pairs of legs on each body segment. So this is the main difference between centipedes and millipedes, as centipedes have one pair of legs on each body segment, millipedes have two pairs of legs on each body segment. The word centipede means 100 legs and the word millipede means 1000 legs. The body of millipedes is cylindrical and elongated like that of the centipedes and having a distinct head. The head consists of one pair of mandibles, one pair of maxilla. Mandibles and maxilla, they are the mouth parts of millipedes, and one pair of short antennae. Centipedes have one pair of long antennae, while millipedes have one pair of short antennae. Millipedes are herbivorous. Their habit is herbivorous and they have no poisonous claws. They have no maxillipedes. The centipedes are carnivorous and they have poisonous claws, poisonous fangs, which are also known as maxillipedes. But the millipedes, they are herbivorous in habit and they have no poisonous claws. The habitat of millipedes is they are found in the dark, damp places. They are found in the moist places. And as millipedes, they are harmless. They are harmless and they coil into a tight spiral when they are disturbed. I have drawn a diagram of spiral. They coil their body into this spiral shaped when they are disturbed. The well-known genera of millipedes are Julis, and Polydesmus. These are the well-known genera of millipedes. Sometimes the taxonomist place centipedes and millipedes into a single superclass, which is known as Myriapoda. The centipedes and millipedes, sometimes taxonomists place them into a single superclass which is known as Myriapoda, or sometimes it is ranked as subphylum Myriapoda. So if it is a superclass Myriapoda, then it has two classes, class Chilopoda and class Diplopoda. And next is class Insecta. Class Insecta is the fourth class and the last class of subphylum Mandibulata. The word Insecta is derived from Latin language. In the Latin, the word is insectus or insectum. In the Latin, the word is insectus or insectum, which means being cut into. Being cut into means their body is divisible into three main parts. Class Insecta is the largest class of phylum Arthropoda, and the number of species reaches up to 7,50,000 or even more. So it is the largest class of phylum Arthropoda with more than 7,50,000 species. Next is about the body parts. The body parts of insect is divisible into three main parts. The first part is head, the second part is thorax, and the third part is abdomen. As I told you, insectum, being cut into. So being cut into means that the body has various parts. So these parts are head, thorax and abdomen. First, I will discuss about the head. The head of insects, it is very distinct and it consists of one pair of compound eyes, one pair of antenna, one pair of mandibles, two pairs of maxillae. Besides this, the compound eyes, antenna, mandibles and maxillae, they are in the paired. Besides this, head of some insects consist of either two ocelli or three ocelli, which are the simple eyes. So a head also has two or three ocelli. In some insects, the ocelli, the simple eyes are absent. The second part of the body is thorax, which lies between the head and the abdomen. Thorax is further divisible into three parts. The first part is prothorax, the middle part is mesothorax, and the third part or the last part of thorax is known as metathorax. Thorax has three parts: prothorax, mesothorax and metathorax. Thorax consists of wings and legs. In insects, thorax consists of wings and legs. There are two pairs of wings arising from mesothorax and metathorax. In some insects, there is only one pair of wings, and some insects are also wingless. So, two pairs of wings are present in most insects. Some have one pair of wings and some insects are wingless. Insects are the only winged invertebrates. In the invertebrates, only class Insecta have wings. No other invertebrates has wings. Besides this, a thorax also consists of three pair of legs. Three pairs of legs. The three pairs of legs, they are arising from pro, meso and metathorax. The first pair of leg arises from prothorax. The second pair of leg or the mid leg arises from mesothorax. And the third pair of leg, the hind legs, are arising from the metathorax. So insects have three pairs of legs, or we can say insects have six legs. Six legs, which means hexapoda. The old name of class Insecta was hexapoda. Hexa means six and poda means legs. Invertebrates having six legs, hexapoda. The last part of the insect body is abdomen, and abdomen is many segmented. The number of segment ranges from 6 segments to 10 segments or 11 segments. Abdominal appendages include anal cerci and anal stylets. And next is about the habitat of insects. So insects are found in all the habitats. They are found in the air. They also have aerial mode of life. They are found in the water and they are found on the land also. Besides this, some insects are ectoparasites also. They suck the blood of the man and other animals. And next is respiration. So insects respire through tracheae. They respire through tracheae. Next is about the excretion of insects. So the excretory organs in class Insecta are Malpighian tubules, and the main nitrogenous waste product is uric acid. Insects are uricotelic. Uricotelic means that they are excreting the uric acid. The last point about class Insecta is their examples. Insecta is a very large class and containing about more than 7,50,000 species. Some of the example of insects include, the first one is Lepisma saccharina. Lepisma saccharina, commonly called as silverfish. It is not a fish, it is an insect which is found in the books, in the cupboards, in the cloths, and it is scientifically known as Lepisma saccharina. Grasshoppers, locusts, crickets, butterflies, moths, fruit fly. Fruit fly is very important in the field of genetics. In the genetics, a lot of work has been done on fruit fly. Ants, bees, wasps, termites, beetles and bugs, etc. So these are the examples, some examples of class Insecta. Now I am going to summarize the classification of phylum Arthropoda. Phylum Arthropoda is divisible into 4 subphyla. Subphylum 1, as you see on the left side of the board, subphylum 1 is Trilobitomorpha, which has only one class, the class Trilobita, and examples are trilobites, the extant arthropods which are not present today on the earth. Second subphylum is Onychophora, which has only one class, Onchophora. For example, Peripatus, the velvet worms, which show a connecting link between arthropods and annelids. If you see on the top of the board, I have written subphylum third, Chelicerata. Chelicerata has further 3 classes. The class 1 is Merostomata. Merostomata, which includes sea scorpions, which are extinct, and the horseshoe crabs. The horseshoe crabs, the genus is Limulus, which is also known as a living fossil. The second class is Pycnogonida, which includes sea spiders. You can see I have written it on the right side of the board. On the rightmost side of the board, class 2, Pycnogonida, the sea spiders. And the third class is Arachnida, which includes spiders, scorpions, ticks and mites. Below Arachnida, I have written the subphylum fourth. The fourth subphylum, Mandibulata. Mandibulata includes first class Crustacea. Crustacea are the dominant arthropods of the sea. For example, prawns, crabs, crayfish, lobsters, crabs, etc. Second class is Chilopoda, which are known as centipedes. Third class is Diplopoda, which include millipedes. And the last class is class Insecta, which is the largest class of phylum Arthropoda. And insects include silverfish, crickets, termites, ants, bees, wasps, butterflies, moths, etc. So I had run a flow chart about the classification of phylum Arthropoda. Thanks for watching the video and don't forget to subscribe my channel.